Hi all, welcome to this video on tutorial for embedded system. In this tutorial, we will be looking at the topic assembly language based development of module 3. So, in this video, we will be covering introduction about assembly language programming, assembly to machine language conversion process, merits and demerits of assembly language based development, and some previous year questions. So, first on to the introduction to assembly language programming. The basic difference between assembly and machine language is that assembly language is the human readable notation of machine language which use specific symbols called mnemonics, whereas machine language is the processor understandable language which consists of only zeros and ones. The major task of assembly language programming is to write the assembly language program and then convert to machine language using assembler. That is what mentioned here. All low-level programming is carried out using this assembly language. For example, device drivers. Now let's look on to the general format of assembly language, that is an opcode followed by operand. Opcode tells the processor or controller what to do and the operand provides the data and information required to perform the action specified by the opcode. Now, here are some examples for the given format. Let's consider move A, hash 30. Here, move A is the opcode or mnemonic. Hash 30 defines the immediate value 30. A is the accumulator. This instruction instructs to move the value 30 into accumulator A. The same instruction when written in machine language will look like this. The first 8-bit represent the opcode move A and second 8-bit represent the operand 30. Next is increment A. It will increment the accumulator by 1. The same instruction when written in machine language will look like this. Further, each line of an assembly language program is split into 4 fields: label, opcode, operand, and comments. Label is an optional field. It represents a memory location, address of a program, subroutine, code portion, etc. Immediately after the label, we need to insert a colon. Labels can contain number from 0 to 9 and special character underscore. Semicolon informs the assembler that the rest of the part coming in line after semicolon symbol is comments. Now let's understand this 4 fields format with an example. This is a subroutine or function for generating delay. This first column represents label, second column denotes opcode, third denote operand, and fourth denote the comments. As I have already said, here we can see the colon immediately after the label and can see semicolon before starting the comments. Here, the second statement will provide the delay. DJNZ R1, delay implies that decrement R1 and jump to delay if R1 is non-zero. That means it will loop till R1 equal to 0 with the help of the label delay and it creates a delay in the program. Label can be replaced by putting the desired address, that is, instead of the term delay, we can use the corresponding address. It is more advantageous to use the labels instead of the address because in case of using labels, even if you insert any instruction before the label at a later stage, it won't create any problem like code overlap since the required address is calculated accordingly. Whereas if you are using the address instead of label, and if you insert any instruction before that portion, then the address of all other instructions get changed, so that mentioned address in the code may not be the actual address, so it will result in some unexpected errors. Next, we look on to the assembly to machine language conversion process. It consists of sequence of steps or processes such as source file to object file translation, library files creation and usage, linking, and object to hex file converter. Now let's look on to each of the steps or process in detail. First, source file to object file translation. Translation of assembly code to machine code is performed by assembler. What happens in this step is that we will be having our source modules or files written in assembly and they are stored as .src or .asm file. On assembling these files, we get corresponding object files with extension .obj. The object file doesn't contain the absolute address and hence it is called a relocatable segment. Absolute address assigning will be done by linker or locator. A51 macro assembler is an example for assembler. Each module can share variables and subroutines among them. Exporting a variable or function from a module is done by declaring that variable or function as public. Importing a variable or function from a module is done by declaring that variable or function as extern. There are two cases in which usage of extern and public cause link errors. Let's understand it with examples. First case, for usage or declaration or variables or functions as extern without those variables being exported. Consider that the simulator contains three modules: assemble1.a51, assemble2.a51, and assemble3.a51. Now consider the scenario that the module assemble1.a51 wants to import a function put underscore grlf such that it use extern, thinking that any one of the other two modules are exporting the same function using public, but none of them are exporting it. So, while linking the modules, the linker identifies that there is no function exporting for this function, such that the linker generates a warning or error message as unresolved external symbol, which is shown here. Second case is that if more than one module in a project tries to export variables or function with the same name using public keyword will generate link error. Let's understand with example. Consider a simulator containing three modules as already said. The modules assemble2.a51 and assemble3.a51 contain a function named putchar. Both of these modules try to export this function by declaring the function as public. While linking these modules, the linker identifies that two modules are exporting the function with the name putchar, which will generate an error message as multiple public definition, which is shown here. The next step is library file creation and usage. Libraries are specially formatted, ordered program collections of object modules used by the linker. They are generated with extension .lib. The major advantage is that library file can be used as a kind of source code hiding technique. That is, if you doesn't want to reveal the source code behind the functions in your program, but you need to distribute it to developers, then you can supply it as library files. Example for library created is lib51, which is used for creating library files for A51 assembler or C51 compiler. Now, let's look on to linker and locator. They are responsible for linking the various object modules in a multi-module project and assigning absolute address to each module. Linker generates an absolute object module by extracting the object modules from the library, and it also links any external dependent variables or function. The absolute object file generated by the linker is further used for creating hex files. Example for linker and locator is BL51 and is used for A51 assembler or C51 compiler. The last stage is the object to hex file converter. Hex file is a representation of machine code and is dumped into the code memory of processor or controller. They are ASCII files that contain a hexadecimal representation of target application, and as I already said, it is created from the final absolute object file using object to hex file converter. The hex file representation varies depending on the target processor or controller. That is, for Intel processor or controller, the target hex file format will be Intel hex, and for Motorola, the hex file should be Motorola hex format. Example is OH51 is used for A51 assembler or C51 compiler. Now let's look on to the merits and demerits of assembly language based development. First of all, let's look on to the merits which are listed here. First merit is efficient code memory and data memory usage. If the developer is well known with the target processor architecture and memory organization, he or she will be able to generate optimized code. This leads to less utilization of code memory and efficient usage of data memory. Second merit is high performance. Optimized code will also improve the total system performance, hence calls for high performance. Third merit is low-level hardware access. Since operations of low-level device such as device drivers, kernels, etc. is not available with most of the high-level languages cross-compilers, we can make use of assembly language programming for accessing low-level hardware device. The fourth merit is code reverse engineering. As we all know, reverse engineering is the process of understanding the technology behind a product by extracting the information from a finished product. If the product doesn't have core memory protection, one can easily convert it into assembly code using disassembler program. Thus, reverse engineering is achieved. Now let's look on to the demerits. First one is high development time. Since assembly language is much harder to program, then the developer needs to spend more time for learning it. One solution for this is use a developer who is well known of assembly language. Another reason for high time is that in order to perform an action, assembly code require more number of lines than the high-level languages like C. Next one is developer dependency. Since there is no common rule for developing assembly language based application as in high level languages, the developer can develop the assembly programming according to their wish. If the approach done by developer is not documented properly at the development stage, he or she may not be able to recollect why this approach is used at later stage, or a new developer looking to this code will also doesn't understand what is done. So, well documenting is a solution. But if the code is too large and complex, documenting all lines of code may not be productive. Last demerit is non-portable. Target application written in assembly instructions are valid only for that particular family of processor and cannot be reused for another target processor or controller. If the target processor changes, a rewriting of application is required. This makes the assembly language application non-portable. Here are the questions asked in the previous year question papers. Answer for all these questions are already explained in this video. The questions are: explain the library file in assembly language context. What is the benefit of library file? Next one is: with a neat diagram, explain the steps in converting assembly language to machine language. Next one, explain the merits and demerits of assembly language based embedded firmware development. Here is what we learned in this video. Initially, we learned about the basics of assembly language programming. Then we learned about assembly to machine language conversion process. Finally, about the advantages and disadvantages of assembly language based development. So that's all about assembly language based development. Thank you.